Most horror movies are afraid of confusing their audience. Silent Hill was never afraid of that, which is why Return to Silent Hill didn't just fail as a movie. It failed because it never understood what Silent Hill actually is. And once you see the one rule that it breaks, the entire film starts to fall apart. Hello everyone, my name is Falcon and welcome to What Am I Watching? I want to thank you all for being here. Silent Hill is one of the most misunderstood horror franchises ever created. And that's not because it's complicated, it's because it's subtle. The horror in Silent Hill was never about monsters. It wasn't about the fog, and it wasn't about spectacle. Silent Hill is simply about judgment. It's about guilt, and it's about punishment. It's about being forced to confront something that you'd rather bury. And this is why Return to Silent Hill feels less like seeing Silent Hill on screen and more like watching a movie just wearing its skin. Before we talk about where the movie fails, we need to establish something important. Silent Hill is not a haunted town. It isn't cursed in the traditional sense. It doesn't operate like a slasher setting where the danger is physical or external. Silent Hill functions more like a mirror. The town reflects what you bring into it. Your guilt, denial, trauma, and your punishment. This is why, in the games, different characters experience completely different versions of Silent Hill. They are not all seeing the same monsters, and the games go out of their way to make this clear. In Silent Hill 2, James repeatedly asks other characters if they've seen things that he has, and they haven't. They don't know what he's talking about, because those monsters, well, they're not real in their reality. They're not real in the traditional sense. They're real only to James. They're manifestations. They're psychological. They exist because James needs them to exist. That's what makes Silent Hill unique. It isn't survival horror. It's psychological judgment. The biggest mistake that Return to Silent Hill makes is surprisingly simple. It turns Silent Hill into a shared reality horror. Everyone sees the same monsters. Everyone experiences the same events. Everyone reacts to the same threats. And the moment that happens, it stops being Silent Hill. Because the horror is no longer personal. All it is spectacle. When monsters are visible to everyone, they stop being manifestations of guilt. They become just monsters. And once that happens, the entire psychological framework collapses. Silent Hill is supposed to be a place that forces you to confront yourself. That's what the creatures are. But the movie turns it into a place where you just have to survive long enough to escape. And that is a completely different genre. This is where the movie feels most frustrating, because visually, it looks right. The characters, they all have the right names. They resemble their counterparts. The environments are recognizable, and the creatures are there. But something's missing. It's like the film copied the appearance of Silent Hill, without understanding the rules that made Silent Hill what it is. This is the difference between adaptation and costume. An adaptation understands the underlying mechanics. A costume just copies what it looks like. And Return to Silent Hill feels like a very expensive costume. One of the most important aspects of Silent Hill is that the monsters mean something. They are not random. They aren't just there to scare you. They are very symbolic. They are incredibly personal and very uncomfortable. They represent things that each of the characters refuses to face. Guilt, repression, self-hatred, sexual frustration, punishment. When those creatures become public threats that everyone can see, they lose their meaning. In the game Silent Hill 2, one of the early encounters with the Red Pyramid thing, better known as Pyramid Head, James sees the beast take one of the mannequins away to do things to it. This symbolism is important for us to understand James's guilt over his sexual frustration. In the movie, Pyramid Head gets into a fight with some spider thing, killing it, then confronts James. The scene almost looks the same on the surface, but it loses everything it was trying to say in the game. The movie stopped using the creatures to tell the story and used them as just monsters. They stopped being psychological and they just became props. Fan service without context is just noise. And that's what many of the monster moments feel like. Recognition without understanding, without purpose. Another thing in the games, something they do very carefully, is to isolate the characters psychologically, even when they cross paths. They're not sharing the same experience. Each person is in their own version of Silent Hill, their own punishment, their own reality. The movie removes that entirely. Everyone is trapped in the same narrative, the same events, the same dangers, which turns Silent Hill from a personal hell into a group survival scenario. And once again, that's not Silent Hill. It's just horror. I want to talk quickly about one of the dumbest things I saw in the entire movie. The time loop concept could have been interesting in another story, in another franchise, but not Silent Hill. Silent Hill is about confrontation and punishment, acceptance. It's about being forced to face something you didn't want to. The loop feels like a Disney mechanic added to give the character a second chance. In Silent Hill, there are no second chances. Silent Hill is horror without forgiveness. These things are not interchangeable. The moment you swap one for the other, you change the entire meaning of the experience. In the end, when I watched this movie, it felt like I was watching something that was written by someone who saw another play the game on fast forward with the sound off, all the time coming up with their own idea of what was actually happening, rather than watching or listening to what it really was. And this isn't just a problem with this particular movie. It's a reoccurring issue with Silent Hill and its adaptations. Even the video games are forgetting what it is. Hollywood understands imagery, but they don't understand psychology. Subtle horror is hard to tell, and symbolism is even harder to market. So I think the instinct here was to turn Silent Hill into something more familiar, more physical, literal, something more visible. But the moment you make Silent Hill literal, it just stops being Silent Hill. Silent Hill was never about the monsters. It wasn't about the fog. It was about what those monsters represented. It was about guilt, punishment, and acceptance. And the terrifying idea that sometimes the things chasing you, they aren't there to kill you. They're there to make you understand what you've done. Return to Silent Hill didn't fail because it looked wrong. It failed because it didn't understand what the town actually is. And if you don't understand what something is, you can't adapt it. I want to thank you all for making it this far into the video. If you have, it means that I'm doing something that you liked. A comment, a like, or even better, a subscription would mean the world to a small growing channel like mine. As for me, I'm going to boot up my old PlayStation 2, and I'm going to play one of the best stories ever put on a gaming disc. It's time to play Silent Hill 2. And you guys? Well, I hope to see you all in the next video. I'm just about ready to finish editing this video, and I wanted to add something, completely off script. Christoph Gans, when you did Silent Hill 1, years ago, I actually enjoyed it as an adaptation. It looked the part, but it was different enough that you were able to take liberties with it. Quite honestly, it had some of the best physical creature effects I've ever seen in a film. I don't know why this movie failed as bad as it did. I don't know if it was studio interference. I don't know if it was production hell. But without knowing what it is, Christoph Gans, what you did was bad. That was bad. You did a bad thing, Christoph. And you shouldn't do it again. You took something that people loved, and you turned it into an empty, hollow husk of its former self. I am incredibly disappointed. I think we all are. I just really needed to get that out of my system. Okay then, now it's time to end this for real. Do all the things, like, comment, subscribe. I really do appreciate all of you. And I do hope to see you in the next video.